in attaining a crime-free society. And today I'm joined by a few panelists from Crime CSP, and I'll let them introduce themselves.
Good afternoon. My name is Eric Waweru. I work with Crime CSP as a focus project assistant.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sylvia Morwabe. I work as a programs manager at Crime CSP. Karibuni.
Alright, so Crime CSP is a youth-centered organization that seeks to attain a crime-free society by building community ownership in safety and injustice issues through advocacy, education, and social enterprise. So here today, we are here to discuss youth and crime in Kenya, the state of it. In this first season, we just want to lay a foundation in the discussion, and we want our friends from Crime CSP to tell us, according to their experience on ground, the whole state of youth and crime. So, Eric, I'll start with you. You have been on the ground, you have worked with youth in Nairobi, Rongai, Nakuru. So, how would you describe the state of youth and crime?
Thank you, Grace. I think from my work and from the what we gather on the ground is that in some areas like Kisumu, Nakuru, and in some parts of Nairobi, crime is on the high. And even in Nairobi, Rongai a bit, but of late they have gone down. And I think this is through lack of unemployment. That's why we have seen rise of crime. Yeah.
All right. So, according to what you have observed and you experienced on the ground, what would you say are the common crimes among the youth?
Common crimes. There are so many these days. Robbery. You have burglary, that is breaking. You have stealing, and we have pickpocketing, which they call PNG in Shen. We have voodoo or dumba. Yeah, they use that ones.
So
yeah.
Could you just explain to someone like me what voodoo means?
Oh, yeah, I will. So voodoo or dumba, mostly it's a Shen in Islands. Yeah, these people use black magic. I think when I mention black magic, at least one or two people, many people can understand that. And black magic, they use it so that at least they can get more money. And they don't get it from Nairobi. They go far away to Tanzania. I think Tanzania is somewhere in Mombasa, from what I hear or what I get from the ground. Because even pickpockets usually find someone so smart sitting next to you in a matatu. But at the end of when you go to a later matatu, you find you have no phone, you have no wallet. You wonder why. This pickpocket use such things. So even rape, defilement is on the increase. Yeah.
All right. So it's very interesting how the lengths at which the young people can go to, like go all the way to Tanzania to get this voodoo. First of all, why? Why is that an option, voodoo?
Voodoo is an option because they are known. These are people who are known. Maybe someone is a most wanted person. They use voodoo to hide themselves. This person wants to walk, but when you use voodoo, you'll be crossing people and people won't be seeing you. That's what they believe on the ground. And they'll be also getting more money and be able to steal more without being caught. So, Dumba in our side here in so many ways. But at the end of the day, it comes to an end. When it comes to an end, that's the 40th day for you. Yeah.
So these things of Mganga kutoka Tanga, they actually work.
They work for
what I can say, from what I get from the ground, is that kuna wale fake na kuna wale origi. So the fake ones advertise themselves, but the real ones, you will have to go miles to get them.
That's what they know.
They know.
They know the real ones and the fake.
Yeah, if you find the person, the real person, you take it to the real person. Yeah.
Wow, to the lengths we go to. So, what would you say are the main reasons for youth to engage in crime? Because you see the lanes at which they go to, so that they use black magic so that they don't get seen. To them, crime is an option. So what are some of the main reasons you would state for youth in crime?
Thank you, John, for that question. For one of the reasons, I think Eric has already mentioned, youth unemployment. That we have a lot of youth who are just idle. They don't have any opportunity and they still have bills to pay, they still have to put food on the table. And someone can look around and be like, lazima nikule. So what do I do? If the only way I can get money is go and rob someone else and sell that phone and get that money, I'll do whatever it takes. Though sometimes we forget that these are temporary solutions that can have permanent effect on our lives. We don't look at the long term, we're just looking at the short term and like, I need this food, but forgetting that nikishikwa, pali naenda, it's not really worth it. But you can basically understand maybe why they're taking that route. Or we're having instances where even just the family background that we're coming from. We may be coming from a family background maybe that is a broken background. You have to take shoulder responsibility as a young person that maybe is what your parents could have done, and you need to support your family and you don't know how else to do it. Sometimes that can lead some youth to crime. Or one that is also prevalent at this point that I've noticed in the work that we do is negative peer influence. For example, I know in one of the teams that we've gone into with the work that we do with our teams in Kisumu, terrorizing the villagers as school students. They are students by day, they are robbers by night. Atatoka shule, change uniform, and start getting into houses and robbing them. And it's just because maybe you're hanging out with your friends and you want to appear cool, you want to appear like you've made it. But the status that we're using to measure that being cool is a little bit warped. Or sometimes just drug and substance abuse, that we've gotten into drug addiction, substance addiction, and to feel that addiction you need money. And sometimes when you can't find that money, it compels you to like, I need it and I need it now. So that's when I'm going, mtu akiacha pesa hapo pale niko, my first thought is like, nahitaji ile bangi pale na kuna doa hapa, wacha nichukue, ama I'll go to whatever lengths. In the work we do, we've worked with drug addicts and they will tell you of just the lengths that they would go to just to get that money to fuel their addiction. So these are some of the causes that we have seen that have led most of the youth into crime at this point. Yes.
I think what Sylvia was telling about drugs is that most youth are using drugs these days. And you may tend to take this we call Morwabe as something simple, but honestly it has become a habit, and a habit is a disease. Because you find that there's a person who will eat Morwabe from Sunday to Sunday. That is a habit, which is a drug, and then which is a drug. And then there's a drug known as banking, which is locally grown, and there's another one from what do we call this place, Ethiopia, which they usually go all the way from Ethiopia, bring it to Nairobi, which is expensive. It goes for 100 bob. And like Badi, which goes for 50 shillings. There's another one called Msi. Msi, I think when you're in town, unaona chokora siku hizi with an handkerchief. Let me show you an example. You find them with an handkerchief, beautiful. So you see that it's like a mask they're using. It's not a mask. No. It's a tablet they put into water, they shake, then they pour the water into the handkerchief, then they start doing what? Sniffing. So the more he sniffs, the more he becomes what? High. Then there's another one we call dove these days. Dove, they usually put it here. So they say the dove, when when you use it, it makes you happy and more joyful. So there are so many drugs and they are cheaper. That's why it's easy for the youth to access. Yeah.
So which would you say is like a contributing factor to drug and substance abuse?
As Sylvia has already said, unemployment. and you want to forget your problems, stress and depression, and also mental health has become a real issue these days. Maybe you're quarreling in the house with your wife, maybe with your parents. So the only option you have is drugs. To ndio utoroke kwa shida zako. But you're lying to yourself. But at the end of the day, when you are sober, reality will still hit you. Yeah.
Unhealthy coping mechanisms. Because we're in the middle of a pandemic, so many things are happening at once. And when you don't know how to deal with them and you don't have a support system to deal with them, we find our youth getting themselves into drugs, into crime, and into all these things that are now causing havoc.
Alright. So you talked about peer pressure. Could you explain to us maybe the relation between peer pressure, gun violence? Because we've been hearing cases about gun violence. The relation between the two.
I know, when you're growing up, you're always told, oh, watch your friends, bad company corrupts good morals, and all those things. And sometimes you just think of it as, those are stories, those are old things old people say. But the truth of the matter is, Eric can bear testimony even with the work that he's seen on the ground. We see that we all have this sense of belonging. As youth, you want to hang out with friends, you want these friends to be able to like you. We all want inherently to be liked. We are social beings. And the company that we keep, if I am hanging around people who maybe are getting into drugs, even if I wasn't drinking, if I wasn't smoking and doing all those things, it is very easy for me to be influenced to get into that life because I want to belong, because they have accepted me, because I want to look cool. Or if I find that all this, for example, if they're getting into crime, if they're robbing people, and sometimes it's not even because they need, it's just because it looks cool. Like if I'm able maybe to change my phone every single day, or every week I have a new phone, then it looks cool. If someone I can be able to go out and ningishamse baridi nishtuke. So I have that feeling of I'm fast border, like we used to say when we were kids. So it's those ones that tunachochana, and then we're getting ourselves, not questioning whether the things that my friends or my supposed friends are leading me to do, whether they're things that are building me or they're things that are bringing me down. Are they things that are helping me to be a better person? Are they things that are helping me to grow? Or are they things that are taking me back? And that I think is what now, that sense of belonging, that feeling of a sense of belonging has led us to just follow blindly whoever is the pack leader, whether they're going to a right direction or not.
And I think that there is we call gang cultures. And many people think that only gangs are in East lands, they're not on the other sides of living suburban areas. We find them everywhere. In East lands you get Gaza, kuna Mbogi Genje, kuna hizo groups. Go to Nakuru, utapata kuna there, and then they have marks on their faces. Like some we visited of late, you'll find they have something called a Nike. All of them, if you look at their faces, unaona. So that is the symbol of the group. If you don't have that one, they will not notice you're one of them. Hawatajua ni mmoja wao. Come to these sides, even in schools. You find in some schools, my father goes with a Prado, your father goes with a BMW. So there's a gang of BMWs, there's a gang of Prados, there's a gang of Subarus. So gangs are everywhere. So as parents, as teachers, as we should look out to our kids, know what they are doing. So peer pressure is real, because from what Sylvia is saying, that unajua unaweza kuona assume, because una assume mtoto wangu ako sawa. No, hayuko sawa. Only because you're giving him 5,000, 10,000 for pocket money. Do you know how they spend it? Ama pale ghetto, wewe unaishi pale, mtoto wako amekuja amevaa viatu za 4,500. Yet the house you're living in is for 3,000. Umemuuliza ametoa wapi? So these are the things that we should be asking ourselves as parents, na tunaongelesha. I think that way it will be easier to tame the peer pressure. Asifuate kitu anaona mwingine anafanya. Yeah. Yeah.
And also, just to add a little bit on what he said, as parents, do we know the children or the people that our children are hanging out with? Ama tunajua tu wanatuambianga na kwanga pale kwa kina Joan, lakini sijui Joan ni nani. Have I met Joan's parents? Do I know if Joan is in school or out of school? Do I know what they do during the day? Because tuna assume tu, huyo ni mtoto mzuri. So that's, sometimes we don't even care, just like, si yako kwa estate, na kuna watoto wengine. But do you know what those kids are doing? So it's up to us, even as we're raising our kids, even as for those who are younger, your younger siblings, your nieces, your nephews, as you're raising them, first of all, to teach them to be first comfortable in who they are. So that, si ati mtu akikuja kumwambia ama akikuja kumintimidate, he wants or she wants to be able to follow that and have that feeling of belonging. Because if they know whatever happens, they are still loved and they belong, then they can be able to ward off the negative peer pressure. And also, peer pressure, we always look at it as a negative thing. Peer pressure can also be positive. So that if we're also watching who they're hanging out with and showing them how to build positive friendships, then we can have them influence each other for good. Unaweza pata kama wanaweza influenceana wasome wapite. Just having that kind of groups that can be able to be where they're working towards a common goal for good rather than a common goal for bad. So as just parents, as members of society, let's look out for our kids. We're told back in the day, mtoto ni wa jamii, siku hizi ndio we don't really care about what our neighbors kids are doing. Ama when you start remember, achana mtoto wangu, but it's a community responsibility. If we can be able to nurture these children so that we can be able to watch and know what they're doing and be able to guide them in the correct way.
So the future is bright. So what would you say are some systematic solutions that we could use in achieving a future where kids, like, we are having positive peer pressure and things like that? Some systematic solutions and approaches.
Thank you, Christian. One of the things I think we can do is, first of all, include the youth and the children in decision making. Like, most of the time, I know as youth, we've gotten to a point where we just feel like we're being told what to do half the time, if not all the time. Be like, do this, don't do this, you're here, you're always told your time is tomorrow, wait for your turn. Each turn to negoja, hey, this tomorrow, I've been told this tomorrow since I can't remember when. And you're wondering, this opportunity, it's not coming. But if we're able to just engage our youth, we're able to give them those opportunities and engage, because youth have ideas. True. Youth are able to even see, because I know we have insight from the older folk, yes, but the younger folk can have ideas that maybe our parents haven't seen, because our parents didn't have issues to do with technology. If my parents did something to do with technology, they'll probably need to ask me. So if we can be able to engage our youth in decision making, give them opportunity, give them just listen to their voices, bring them in to be part and parcel of the solutions, and just whatever it is that they're facing, then we're able to, first of all, remove the idleness. Because number one, even when we're saying they're not employed and all these things, underlying thing is they're idle. And to Lifunzwa, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. So that's when you have all these ideas of like, wacha niende pale ni kule mogoka, wacha niende pale ni ibe. All these ideas come. But if we can be able to occupy their mind, if we can be able to, give them all these other opportunities that they can be able to do, then we're able to help them. And sometimes we always look from that point, but in Ezakuwa, maybe you've seen, like the others who have already maybe gone the extra mile, so to speak. They have gone to the extreme, and now they're in trouble. Let's not now leave them and tuoshe kuna kusema huyu ameharibika, there's nothing we can do, let's throw them off. Our systems, we can be able to use our system to be able to rehabilitate. We can be able to still bring them back and be able to get them to be productive members of society. We have had the opportunity to work with the juvenile institutions, and we have seen even just how that program, where they're able to come in and maybe you're sentenced to, for Boston institution, it's 3 years. And we've seen the 3 years is supposed to be corrective, to help you to come to your senses, to help you to realize what you did wrong, make better decisions and come out. And we've seen children who have come out, Like, and sometimes they don't even finish the 3 years. After the first year where we've seen, okay, there are significant changes you learned, they come out of license, and for the other 2 years of So after 1 year, we see that most of them are able to be released and be able to just go back and not even spend the 3 years. So they spend the last 2 years of probation just being integrated into society, going on with their lives, and we see that we have behavior and attitude change among them. So just these solutions, when we're able to integrate them in conversation, we're able to give them opportunities. And we see that the government is trying to do this with Ajira, what they're doing with digital Ajira that they're doing for the youth. So just giving the youth opportunity, empowering them, and just building them with their behavior and attitude change, then we're able to get them out of crime because we're able to give them something to do that will keep them out of idleness and make them useful with their hands. Yes.
And I think the best approach you can do with youth, and what I usually do, is that there are so many ways of mentorship programs. Mentorship programs we do in communities, we do in schools, we do even in sports. In sports, like now as we are speaking, there's a league called My Samba League. We usually go there weekends, we talk to them. After they've played, we talk to them. In prisons, there's something called a program called Phoenix. So we go to talk to them, why they should not go back to their ill habits. In communities, we set up dialogues, at least we engage the community in each and every day, at least to mentor them. At least wasirudie zile, wasikuwa na zile tabia mbaya, ama ule mtu alikuwa ameanza hizo tabia awachie nini? Aache hizo tabia. I think that approach inakuwa better, and I think most organizations should come, or we should work together and partner. At least this way we can tell people at this age, because most people who are in crime and drugs are youth. So at least tukiungana tutafanya kitu moja poa, and that it will be easy. Yeah.
So we are clearly taking so much interest in the youth, and it's because they play a critical role. Could you tell us that critical role of the youth?
And allow me to quote the Bible kidogo. When Paul is talking to Timothy and he tells him, let not anyone despise you because of your youth. And that is something that I would even tell to each one of us. That sometimes we look at it and we're like, what would this one know? What would they do? But let me give you a few examples of just some youth who have been able to make changes. Facebook, the platform we're actually using right now to stream this conversation, was started by Mark Zuckerberg when he was still a youth, at 19. That's when he created Facebook. Microsoft, all these computers that we know, everything that we know, was started by Bill Gates again when he was 19. Which is, very young. That's still even, a teen. Youth who have been able to make significant change in society. We've even had, if you look at, Greta Thunberg, who has been an environmental activist. And we see even, last year, when she was fighting together with, climate change, and we've seen just youth come together and we need to save our planet. And young as they are, they have had their voices, they've made their voices heard. Like, if we were to give our youth opportunity, if we were to be able to just, let them grow, let them be able to explore their ideas, they can be able to even, take us where we never thought that would go. And it's not just, idle talk. We have seen it happen with youth in previous generations. So those ones who have walked this path before, why can't they walk and hold the hands of the ones that are coming, the generations that are coming after them, and just tell them, help them to know that their voices matter, that, those creative ideas that they have, they can be able to use them to grow something. Who knows? they might be the next Bill Gates, they might be the next Zuckerberg. They can be able to make that difference. They can be able to grow themselves. So let's give them that opportunity. Let's stop telling them that, oh, Kesho, you're the leaders of tomorrow, you're the leaders of tomorrow. Youth are the leaders of today. All the youth are asking for right now is, let's be heard. They just want to be heard. They want to feel like their voice matters, like they can be able to make that change. If we give them that opportunity to make that change and to share their ideas and be creative, then we'll be able to just empower them and even get them out of this crime that is now becoming an issue.
All right. So, as parents and members of the society and organizations, Cransipoa and others, what would you suggest as a response from us in this whole issue of youth and crime?
I think we should not take it lightly first, because many parents these days are so ignorant. That's one. I think this COVID pandemic has taught us so much, because in 2020, I think the 9 months these kids were at home, I think most parents knew that teachers were doing a greater job, because we have seen a lot of kids, the ill side of our kids, because most of them have refused to go back to school. Some have gone to drugs, and because of what? They are free, and as Sylvia said, and empty, and I don't mind is what? Exactly. So I think as parents, or as teachers, or as organizations, we should be able to stand and talk to kids. Don't ignore or assume that mtoto wangu ako sawa. Nitasema hivi, when I was growing up, my neighbor angepata nafanya makosa, angenipiga, iende kwa mamangu anipige, maana tukienda shule nipigwe. So by that time, I knew ulikuwa unajua kufanya makosa itafika mpaka shule. Like today, abuguza mtoto wa Sylvia kotini. What will you do with my kid? Na hapo ndo tunakosea as a society. Ukiona mtoto mwenyewe anafanya makosa, these days unaogopa kumwambia, because you are afraid of the parent. You don't know the parent ni nani. But mimi naweza sema hivi, turudi kule culture yetu ya kitambo. At least ukiona mtoto anafanya makosa, be there to tell them hii mzuri. Another thing that parents don't know is that a robbery doesn't take 1 hour. It's not a lesson. So ni a 5-minute thing. Mtoto anaweza enda aibe, arudi na akae hapo nyuma kwako. Na kwambia mama, I've been here. Because ametoka kufanya mambo zake, amefanya nini? Amerudi. Na utamtetea. But kuna mama pale anakuambia, mtoto wako anafanya ABCD. Because anaogopa kumwambia, mtakosana na kuja na kuambia. Wewe unasema, mchana mama anaekeleaga mtoto wangu. When something comes to happen, unasema nini? Mtoto wangu ameekelewa. Yet, you are told the same thing, but ignore. So, as Cransipoa, we are trying to prevent that from happening. That's why we are doing mentorship programs. I think when you see our banners, is inform, reform, transform. So we try to transform those who have come from prison and inform those who are still and these are the youths. At least this way tunaweza saidiana sana kuliko kuignore mtu unaona yet is going the wrong way. Si ati tukati ule mtoto si wangu. Kesho utaenda Kisumu, umwache Nairobi, atashindana nani? Sitashinda na ule. By the time amefika to another level, labda alianza kuiba askari kwa nyumba, atafika remote, apande hivyo, the next thing utamwona kwa magazeti ni most wanted. Where were you? So we should stand up as parents, organizations, and as a government. Yeah.
All right. So on that note, Sylvia, your final words?
I've just remembered Swahili saying, wahenga walisema usipoziba ufa utajenga ukuta. So that even as we are trying to mentor our youth, prevention is better than cure. We don't want our youth to get into crime, to get arrested, so that they learn from their mistakes, and then now we tell them, usirudie kosa. We have the position, as just as Erica said, as parents, as society, to be able to play that preventative role. So let's all be active. Let's take part, because let's not look at it as someone else's problem. It's our problem. If my neighbor's child is in trouble, even me nitakuwa in trouble. So let's come together as society. Let's address our children. Let's be able to help them to grow, and then help them to be able to be the best that they can be. Then all these issues that we are facing right now, all these issues that we're seeing them getting into, will be a thing of the past. And all this can only happen if we work together to be able to be that change that we want to see, to be that good example that we want our youth to follow.
All right. Eric?
For me, I think as our vision, we want a crime-free society. And to attain that, we have to be our brother's keeper. Why do I say? Look out for each other. Don't say, don't assume, don't ignore. Tukisaidia watoto hivi saa hii at the tender age, we will avoid them being cruel, them getting into drugs, getting into robberies, doing these defaming cases that we hear each and every day. And also, we should, even the churches should come in. And I think even in schools, we should also, in the curriculum, we should put something called sex education these days. Because I think most parents don't want to talk to their children about sex, thinking that it's something bad. No, take it as normal, because these days, the people who are being bars is because of what? Lack of what? Lack of knowledge. So I think, as parents, we should stand up for our children and be our brother's keepers. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Sylvia and Eric, for joining us in this conversation. That has been a chat with Crime CSP, and you have had the youth play a critical role in our society. And as a community, we should take responsibility into molding, informing, educating our youth. So make sure to join us next time for a wonderful episode such as this, with more experts on topics that are affecting youth and crime. Thank you so much.
Asante.